Right, when you're cutting out your fabric, in your paper pattern, you have a diagram that shows you the cutting layouts and tells you, depending on how wide your fabric is, how to lay out your fabric. Because we've only got 2 pattern pieces, it's quite easy to work out yourself the most economical way of pinning them on the fabric. But you need to fold your fabric so that you have the 2 selvages, those finished edges that don't fray, matching each other here, and on the opposite side you have a fold. And then look at your paper pattern. On the front of the dress it has this bent arrow and it says centre fold, and it says to cut 1 on a fold. So this paper pattern has to be matched right up to the fold here. And then when you cut round it, you just cut round these edges here and leave the fold. So when you're pinning it, you need to make sure that it is right up to the fold, not away from it like this, but right on the fold. Right, I won't pin it all, I'll just put it there. And then you need to fit the back piece. So if I go right the way down here, it overlaps here, so I can work out that I can just come up to about here, and then I can fit the back piece. But what I need to be aware of here is, because I've adapted the pattern now, we're no longer cutting it on a fold, we want to cut 2 of them. What we need is this line has to be parallel to the selvage. So if I put it like that, it's obviously not parallel. But if I line it up like this, and the way to judge it would be to get a ruler and just measure that that's the same distance, and have them run in the same way. So just be aware, if you've got a pattern that has a one-way pattern on it, sorry, if you've got fabric with a one-way pattern, or if you had something like velvet that is smooth when you run your hand down it in one direction, it needs to follow. So this is the top. So if you've got a one-way pattern, have you got it so that the pattern's the right way up on the dress, or is it going to be upside down? So just check that you're putting them the right way. And then you pin, put a pin sort of in each corner and make sure it's smooth. Make sure there's nothing on the table underneath, creating bumps and lumps. And then once you've pinned in the corner, then go all the way around, probably a pin, leave a pin's length and then put another pin. Leave a pin's length and then another pin. And you pin them both before you cut anything. And then with your fabric scissors, cut as close to the paper without cutting the paper. When you get to the triangles, if you remember the notches, just cut past them, and then I'll show you later how to mark the notches on your fabric. So just cut them out, don't take the paper pattern off. You always leave the paper pattern on until you're actually ready to sew or use that piece, so you can identify what they are. And if you can't tell the difference between the right side and the wrong side of your fabric, whereas this one it's quite obvious, if it's not obvious, just put some masking tape either on the 2 outside of the fabric or the 2 inside to identify the wrong side of the fabric.